Just want to show you guys a clip from The Shining because this movie was made by Stanley Kubrick and it was written by Stephen King. So some guy made a documentary about this movie. It's called Room 237, where they reveal hidden things in the movie. And one of those things that they were talking about how Danny is wearing a rocket on his shirt, like the Apollo 11. And they also pointed out that this spot right here looks like kind of like a launch pad. And he also goes to this room 237, and they don't show him go in there. They never actually show you what happens in that room. And the thing that I find really strange about it too is that in the Stephen King book, the room number was actually 217, but in the movie they changed it to 237, which is really strange because they say that the moon is 237 from Earth. So basically what they're saying is hidden in this movie scene. Well, they didn't even mention, I don't even think they mentioned the fact that it was wrong from the book, but it is. Anyway.
About you cheat on your wife, you plagiarize.
I would never do that. No.
Plagiarize something.
It's about a movie I made that nobody is aware of, even though they've seen it.
Okay.
Is that intriguing? Do I have you intrigued?
Well, I mean, see if I understand what you said. It's about a movie you made, no one knows you made. Is that what you said?
That's right. It's a production.
Like, some you put you didn't put your name on it. Like at the end, you put like a fake name.
Oh no, I made it.
Like Alan Smithy, like
that's
that.
Right. No, I didn't. There was no name put on it.
Why? Why would there be no credits? What do you mean?
Because there are some things that you just can't put your name on.
Okay.
I perpetrated a huge fraud, which I am now about to detail.
Okay.
Involving the United States government and NASA.
All right.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
The moon landing hoax?
That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it.
You're serious? And okay.
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Because I only have this certain amount of time with you, and I'll talk about whatever you want. This isn't some type of joke or
no, it's not
film within a film thing.
It's not a joke. Nope.
Okay.
The conspiracy theorists were right on this occasion.
Why?
I don't know about Paul McCartney's death, but this they were right about.
Okay. Why in God's name I don't know what to ask you first. Why the hell, if you're telling the truth, why would you do it? Why are you telling me? I mean, what the?
Don't you think it's important for people to know the truth?
Yeah, yes, certainly.
They had a massive fraud, an unparalleled fraud perpetrated against them. They should know.
Okay.
I mean, they're already suspicious of the government. They may as well have their suspicions confirmed.
Okay.
And justified.
And why now? I mean, we're almost at the 30-year anniversary. What took so long? Why, if this is true, why?
I won't go into that. It has to do with personal.
Okay.
Evolution and influences.
And, well,
I'll go into that.
Is that why you look a little haggard right now? Because you look a little worn. No offense.
Well, also, yeah, because I haven't been taking care of myself too well. I've been drinking a lot, but.
Is that because of the stress of this?
Of course, stress, guilt, just conflict of all kinds.
Wow. I mean, so you feel bad about this, clearly. I mean, this is.
I do feel bad about it. I also feel proud of it. It's a terrible conflict.
Because you've pulled off one of the greatest hoaxes ever because of your.
And because I made a film, if you want to call it a film, which I consider to be my masterpiece. And
you can't take credit or even talk about it
well,
you are now.
I'm hereby taking credit.
Right, but you can't actually go out. You're doing when people see this, you'll be dead.
Until 10 years,
right, we're 15, yeah. So you can't talk to Roger Ebert about it. Does that frustrate you?
I have to pay the consequences for the decision that I made many years ago to go along with this.
Like a deal with the devil.
It's Faustian, to be sure.
And is that why you got such power in Hollywood? I mean, that would explain that.
Why I have the freedom I have, that was part of it, yes.
So they said, do this moon thing, and we'll give you...
When I made Spartacus, I didn't have this kind of freedom.
Right.
But I have it now.
So what came first, the genius or the fraud?
What's NASA's doing?
Well, what came first, the genius or the fraud? I mean, did the fraud enable the genius, or was the genius released?
Well, I'd like to think the genius came first.
Right.
But some frauds are hard to bypass, especially if you have an ego and you're an artist and you're presented with a challenge, the likes of which you've never seen and will probably never see again. You don't even think of the morality of it. You're just completely swept away by the flattery of it and the juices inside you, which make you want to do it as the artist you are innately. You don't think of anything else.
What a conflict. I mean, gosh, I can't imagine being presented with that opportunity. On one hand, I really would want to do it, but then I'd probably say, well, I'm committing a crime and lying. And
it depends, but my guess would be, no, you if you're good, you would do it. I discussed this with Levinson, Barry Levinson.
Right.
I discussed it with...
Oh, you mean Wag the Dog, right? Yeah.
Yes. Spielberg, of all people, believe it or not, yes.
So wait, Wag the Dog...
Coppola, Scorsese, even Woody Allen I discussed. There isn't one of them who wouldn't do this.
Right. And did that... So Barry Levinson must have been influenced by this whole... He must have known, so that's... Wag the Dog is about this whole idea. I mean, that's why...
The character was named Stanley.
Right. And he gets killed at the end because he demands credit. Tell me about the making of it. So was it difficult? I mean... Committing the greatest fraud, what you want to call it. I'm not saying it's a... Okay.
A lot about that at the time.
I know, so I'm not making moral judgment, but making this huge, ambitious, technical faux landing, was it harder than 2001? Was it very difficult? I mean, what was the experience like? Artistically, practically, emotionally, what was
Nothing
it like?
was harder than 2001.
So 2001 was harder than faking the moon landing?
It actually was.
Because you learned things on 2001 and...
Yes. I mean, 2001 was very ambitious. And that's not to say that faking the moon landing was not ambitious, but yeah, I learned things making 2001, which is why I got this gig in the first place, right?
Right, that makes sense. So what was the experience?
It was easy for me because, well, first of all, I didn't think a whole lot about the morality of it, as I said. If I had, I might have been more hesitant, more stifled in my work, but I didn't. And I could see that Neil was, actually. He was bothered by it.
More than Buzz Aldrin or anyone else involved?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
About
because in a way, everything was going to center around him. He was the one who was supposed to come down off the ladder and announce the step for mankind and what have you. He sensed that this was going to be a life-changing experience for him, and I mean on a major scale. Actually, he was rather tortured by it the rest of his life.
Really? I mean, that why you think of interviews?
Yes, and in fact, that actually began to affect my own perception of it, watching what happened to him.
Okay, in what way? Just seeing the deterioration of him? And I mean, was he depressed or?
He was depressed. He was drinking heavily, bitter, scared, just phobic, avoiding people.
And that guy Bart Subrell or somebody tried to get him to swear in a Bible.
I mean, when I say it affected me, that's why there was so much time in between films for me. Between Full Metal Jacket. And, well, between The Shining and Full Metal Jacket was about 6 years. Between Full Metal Jacket and Eyes Wide Shut is 13 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of that time was spent just...
Like just emotionally processing?
Yes. It became very conflicting for me. I was proud of my work, but at the same time... And this was a lot because of Neil's influence. Not consciously. He didn't do this to me consciously. But I spent a lot of time with him, and each time I did, I became more and more bothered, troubled by my own participation in this.
Okay. Well, what would he say? I mean, did he explain the source of his depression?
He was on the verge of tears. He did not cry. I won't say he cried, but he was on the verge of tears so many times because of what he did.
I mean,
what he participated in. It's almost as if he thought up the idea, you know?
Right. He felt that guilt.
He was almost used, really.
Okay.
But he's the one who felt the guilt. I'm sure NASA did not feel that much guilt.
And, I mean, why did he go up, I wonder? I wonder why. Because they promised him a seat in 3 years when they figured it out. They kept lying about it being possible. So why do you think he did it? Why did Armstrong do it in the first place? He thought, they kept saying, we'll be ready in 3 years and you'll go then. Just lie now and we'll go in 3 years. The funding will keep going and we'll figure this out and you'll go.
Oh, actually go.
Right,
okay,
yeah. And but they were lying, you know, and they figured it out. And he got really, so cynical. Got it? Okay. So why did Armstrong go? I mean, he was such a moral, principled man. Why would he go on a fake moon mission? I don't believe that.
Well, they strung him along because they led him to believe, oh, don't worry, we're going to have the money in a few years and we'll actually go and then you will go.
They'll have, you mean they'll have the technology in a few years?
Yes.
Okay.
They will have enough. They will be able to actually perform the miracle of going to the moon. And yes, he would be in the saddle.
So otherwise, okay, let's make this clear. Kennedy set a deadline, psychological deadline of the 60s. They knew they couldn't beat it.
Right. But
they could have.
They did.
Right. And if they did, you're saying they sincerely thought that they would really get there within a few years.
I believe, yes, they did think so.
Because that's what that's...
Although some didn't. There was a difference of opinion. There were some that just believed honestly that we will never be able to get there. There's just no chance.
That Werner and I used to like have coffee in the mornings, and he was like, there's no fucking way. Like, like Werner von Braun.
Right.
So go if you want that. Some people didn't believe that you could go. Even.
Well, Werner von Braun, of course, didn't.
The director didn't think so.
The man was just too brilliant. He knew that we couldn't do it.
So okay, I'm talking about a guy working on two lost causes, Nazism and the quest for the moon. I mean, he really did, and he didn't tell them. I mean, did he ever tell them? Did he tell the did he tell the president we can't go? I mean, he must have been broke the news.
He was very old, of course, at the time, and a lot of people just dismissed him. Younger, more ambitious people. Some of them really thought we could get there,
right?
Or wanted to believe it. Maybe on a conscious level they knew we couldn't, but they just wanted to believe the impossible because they were so full of themselves.
And so full of the dream.
Yes. The dream was very powerful.
And that's what beguiled Armstrong. Here is a noble stand-up guy, and he didn't want to be part of the lie, but he knew he'd get a seat if he played ball on when they actually did go up.
He was too good for this.
But that day never came, obviously.
That day never came.
And what did that do to him? I mean,
it gradually destroyed him, I think.
Okay.
He deteriorated. Yeah, like I said, he drank a lot. He was full of self-recrimination, and so was I. Well, mainly from his influence. It's like I caught it from him.
And now tell the story about, I talked to him one last time before his death, and he made me promise to get this news out. It was too great. It was, one last story.
I died before he did.
Okay. One last conversation right? The last conversation you had was about 3 months ago. And he said that, that he's going to write a letter and put it in a drawer. Maybe his wife someday will give it out. But he's like, all right, Stanley, you're a media guy. You got to tell the truth one day. Right before. But he urged me to tell the truth. He knew he couldn't because of reasons because he was a government employee his whole life and he had a government pension. And here I'm a millionaire. Like you can afford to, Stanley. Tell the truth. I still get a government pension. You know what I'm saying? And that's been eating on you to do this. And that's why you're not doing it now. You're doing it 15 years from now, or whenever. Like, in other words, you're telling this. That's why you're not announcing on CNN. It's because you're going to honor his wish, but you're not ready for it now to come out. Like, you're doing this for
Why
you.
am I putting it off? Because I think I'll be
because you don't want your family. You want to be dead,
right.
And you want your family to have 15 years on it. Your wife will probably be dead, and your kid will be grown.
Right.
You want distance from your legacy from this truth. That's it. Okay.
Right.
So, what happened? So what really motivated contacting me as a filmmaker was I talked to Neil, and I really felt guilty, and that's why I arranged for you to interview me because I wanted to blah blah blah. Let's talk about the motive. So Neil really got to you. I mean, it sounds like he's the impetus of this entire confession in a way. I mean, it's like a theme. Like, so he really made you become circumspect about this.
He even virtually begged me to reveal all this. He couldn't do it himself. He has a pension to worry about. I had basically nothing to lose. I'm, an established filmmaker, not involved with the government in any way except for this one job. And I made my millions. I'm really basically set for life. I'm almost 70.
But you still must fear one thing they can do to you, which is, I mean, I don't know. Do you ever? I mean, do you ever worry about them killing you because of the secret? I mean, you have become a bit of a recluse. I don't know.
Yeah. Garbo, Howard Hughes, J.D. Salinger, and me.
Right.
And to some degree, Neil.
But did any of them think that the government was out to get them? And I'm not saying you think that, do you? I mean, the government obviously said they'll kill you. I mean, obviously, the government said we'll kill you if you say anything. I mean, that's a standard top secret sort of penalty.
It's understood, even if it's not said.
Right. But they did say it to you, I presume.
Yeah.
They did. I mean, the government, they said basically, so it
they
was.
They tried to be cute about it, but yeah, it was said in no uncertain terms.
So why are you, can't this get you killed?
Well, that's why I'm delaying it.
Okay, the 15 years
thing.
It's
not going to be seen.
Okay, until
another
15 years after you're dead. Well, no, that's if you die tomorrow. You're not going to die tomorrow, clearly.
I'm sorry.
Okay, try again. Okay, it's okay. So why do you get killed by doing this? This could kill you. Why are you doing that?
Well, this is not going to be seen until
because of our
15 years after my death.
So now that's why you have to sign the NDA and all these. Okay.
That's right.
All right. Well, that makes sense now. Okay, I understand that now. All right.
It should be known, but I want there to be some kind of cushion for my family. 15 years seems like a good number.
Okay. All right.
After my death, 15 years after my death.
But okay, so let's take a step back. You're making this tape out of an effect Neil had on you. I mean, Armstrong sort of influenced you.
Very much. Sometimes it just takes a catalyst. I mean, somewhere inside you know what's right.
Right.
I mean, I went for years just thinking I was doing the right thing, just through my art, and then something comes along that you don't even recognize as a temptation because you're so swept away by your own ego. It took someone like Neil Armstrong and distance and time to hammer into me what this really meant about society, about myself. about the human condition, even, which is what I'm about.
So you must
and
feel very
yes.
proud and very guilty and proud of this thing. I mean,
Yes, conflicted. I mean, I still think it's a terrible. Maybe it's a terrible thing to say, maybe not. But I look at that or even think of it. I just remember it, and I think this was my fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
I still think so.
Right. I mean, it's the greatest.
Despite its flaws, it's my goddamn masterpiece. It's better than 2001. It's better than Paths of Glory or Clockwork Orange or Barry Lyndon or Doctor Strangelove. All of which I love, but
and you're included now. That's the moon landing itself, and what a triumphal story that is. Were you involved in any of the other missions at all, or is that just the one? I mean, would they just take your thing, or was it a one-off, or did you do them all? I mean, you just did 11 and 13. They brought you back after 12 failed. Okay, just to do 13. That's it. And Neil helped you with that. So was it just a one-off? I mean, you just did you do them all?
Well, I did 11 and 13 as well.
You did 13, okay.
Not 12.
Why is 13 a failure then? Why did you?
Well, they brought me back.
And why? But why did you make it?
12 failed.
12 failed how? What do you mean? How did 12 fail?
Tell me 12 failed.
How did it? I'm asking you in character. How did 12 fail?
Sam, can we stop?
Nobody watched it. No one cared.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you did 11 and 13, but why 13? Why did you make 13 into like a failure? Why did you?
Because 12 was a disaster. I mean,
What do you mean?
nobody
Why?
cared anymore. 72.
Oh.
By then, it was old hat almost. People just didn't care. And that's why they had to play golf up there.
Okay, so.
I mean, as if golf was was watchable.
Okay.
I mean, if they'd had a horse race, that would have been watchable.
That's true.
But a golf match, I mean, a golf game on the moon.
Right. Okay, so they weren't getting the ratings.
That wasn't my idea. I will not take credit for that.
Okay.